Well, hello and welcome to today's webinar, Collaboration, the Connecting of a Community. Today's webinar is generously sponsored by Jobspeaker, and today we have Jarlath O'Carroll, Bob Slayman, and Neve O'Mahony, who are going to share a few words with us.
Good morning, everyone. Welcome. I'm looking forward to the presentation today about connecting within your communities and collaboration across your communities. We are Jobspeaker. We're very happy to sponsor this session in collaboration with COABE. And as I said, looking forward to the session today. Jobspeaker helps bridge the gap between education and employment by connecting your students, your adult learners, your job seekers in your community. This is typically, so next slide, please. This is the standard kind of route. This is the happy path for most students that go from high school into post-secondary, getting ready for their career and then into their career. Keep going, please. But as we know, skills are more important today than ever before. And the landscape has changed significantly over the last several years, particularly since the pandemic, where reskilling and upskilling students that are coming from all different walks of life. Next, please, Neve. Those coming from being impacted by the pandemic, those coming from needing to be reskilled, being impacted by employee layoffs, re-entry students, etc., coming at you as educators and enablers to get them back into the workforce. Skills are what we believe are the most important to help students move along that pathway. And as an example, the NTMA, we recently are having a conversation with NTMA, and we found out that 58% of their membership is going to retire by 2025. Next, please. Thank you. So there's an opportunity here to get people into those really high-paying jobs and opportunities in manufacturing and advanced manufacturing to help the people in your local community skill and upskill. And I believe Phyllis is going to talk about the local manufacturing here that are probably looking in desperate need of skilled students in your local economy. Yeah. What we do is we help connect the conversations across your landscape to bring together all of those different pieces of the puzzle into a structure that enables the student to see how all of those things working together, working in unison across your community helps that individual move towards a career, a new career, a first career, a second career, a third career, fifth career, whatever it is, to help them succeed and become economic forces unto themselves and help support themselves and their family. Next slide, please. So we help students and individuals get on a path towards their interests, career and skills and desires with an assessment and guided pathways tools. We help them earn, learn, and retain those skills and matching them to opportunities, internships, apprenticeships, and jobs in your local community. Next slide, please. Across your community, work in collaboration with all the parties that are motivated to do this work, from high schools to community college to workforce boards and 4 years, essentially moving the job seeker on the left-hand side over to being an employer on the right. Next slide. Helping automatically create a profile that looks like this for each of your students and adult learners to automatically articulate the skills that they're being earned and learned in the classroom through work-based learning, etc., in order to connect directly using a common language with local employers. And enabling them to see the type of work, the type of jobs, the type of earnings they could earn if they continue on that path and help them see the light at the end of the tunnel, if you will. Our solution, Jobspeaker, helps individuals gain the skills along that pathway, interact with mentors, interact through events, career fairs, virtual career fairs, individual mock interviews, work-based learning, apprenticeships, internships, etc., to build their skills and build a confidence within that pathway to be successful in their career, working in collaboration with you all, counselors, advisors, faculty members, etc., and in collaboration with your employers across your landscape. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much, Jobspeaker. We thank you for sponsoring today's webinar. We thank you for your work in the field of adult education. Without your sponsorship and your partnership, we wouldn't be able to put these on for our members. So we're definitely grateful. So thank you very much. Okay, today our presenter is Phyllis Atwood. She is the coordinator. She's a coordinator with adult education. And in that role, she has the opportunity to create programs of study for the undereducated, underemployed, and unemployed, combining over 20 years of experience in the retail industry with a bachelor's in psychology and a master's in management and an ABD in leadership studies. She enjoys developing specific needs programs for the manufacturing industry partners in a tri-county area. Her multidisciplinary approach to her education was beneficial in the development of partnerships and an adaptive teaching style for the adult learner. So please welcome her by chatting hello in the chat box, letting us know where you're calling in from today. And if you have any questions throughout her presentation, you can enter those in the Q&A section and she'll get to those at the end of her presentation. And with that, I'm going to hand it over to Phyllis. Thank you.
Good afternoon, everyone. I just want to thank from the bottom of my heart our sponsors. Without you guys, we could not disseminate this information to our membership, and we truly do appreciate it. I also want to thank COAPE for putting this together and being the leader of our not so small, but cohort of interested minds and in invested individuals in the future of our workforce itself. Without our collaboration with our partners, we wouldn't have the knowledge that we do have to move forward. And I want to thank the attendees today, whether you're joining me live or through a recording later. You're going to learn some stuff today, and you're going to feel like you found your planet that you belong on. With that, I'm going to share my screen, and we're going to jump right in with a slideshow that I have on collaboration and connecting your can y'all see that? Somebody give me a thumbs up. I hope you can see it. Good. All right. Because I am, okay, so collaboration, connecting of a community. The agenda, we are going to try to stick to an agenda today. Right. One, I'm going to give a little presentation of the problem being that there's a huge gap between our secondary education and actual workforce and being qualified for that workforce job. And so many people, and when they get done with high school, they take whatever job comes along without giving any thought if it's going to be a sustainable income or not. And the second thing we're going to talk about is collaboration, cooperation, and contribution. And that has to do with our partnerships. You know, who do we want to team up with and how do we go about it? And the third is, how do you sell a grassroots program? And by grassroots, I'm talking about we are the grass. So we are the ones that see the problems. We see both sides. We see the problems. We see the needs. We have the students, and we also can see the other side as administrators in our program that involves how do we connect those two? How do we bridge that gap? And then the one thing, and I'll explain that when we get there, we're going to go into a little brainstorming, whether you do it here online with me or whether you get your local cohort together and come up with some ideas and share your thoughts. And then lastly, I'm going to talk about the impact on the students. All right, so the presentation of the problem itself, let's talk about the symptoms, right? We don't need to focus on unemployment or underemployment, but the symptoms itself. You know, we break that huge problem that we know we have, whatever it be, whether it be a huge unemployment percentage, or if we have a poverty level. Poverty level is indicative. You may have a very low, like Alabama has an extremely low employment percentage. Everybody's working, but our poverty level, we're 5th highest in the nation. And we have an underemployment problem, right? So our workforce, they're not making a sustainable wage because they don't have the skills needed to move forward into a higher paying job. So the individuals that need the devotion of adult educators might be interested in just gaining employment. But like I said, the larger problem is underemployment. When we train them, we want to make sure that they leave us with enough skills and knowledge to earn a sustainable wage. So many lack the knowledge, that knowledge and skills. They may not be receiving it before they get out of high school. The problem is, how can we build a program that provides the unemployed and underemployed that wish to raise their level of employability in a timely manner? And that's what it all comes down to, the commodity of time. How do we do that with respect for the student's struggle to break the cycle of community poverty? So adult educators here have, following the theory and practice of servant leadership, right, appreciate the need to recognize that gap because our customers are our students, and they're the ones that we are serving. So they are the ones that we need to listen to and gear our programs towards serving them. Right. So on one side, so we those are the symptoms that we're looking at. The hiring standards of the industry is another problem that we need to address as we start building a program that connects these two. We don't want to spend time training and teaching things that there's no place to use them. Connect with the industry, find out what they're looking for, what they call a qualified applicant, and build your curriculum around that. And that way the students that you're serving are served well. Okay. Then the other thing that we want to talk that I want to talk about is pigeonholing your certifications. So many of our programs, we were taught long ago that we stack those credentials. With the stacking of your credentials, you're running into a time factor. So many of our students, they don't have that luxury of time to give towards education. We deal with adults. So they're dealing with several other factors in their life. So all of this helps bridge the gap between underemployment and a sustainable wage. And a little bit, I talked about this already, about the symptoms of the problem itself. You deal with mindset, you deal with groupthink, family environment, system victim, cultural boundaries, skepticism, helplessness, and unworthiness. So there's so many different pieces of their puzzle. Let me go back for a second. So when you're doing the intake, one of the things that I do with my students when they come into the program is I do an intake interview. I actually sit down one-on-one with everyone that enters my program, and I talk about their hopes and dreams, because they're still there. They may be buried and they may be forsaken, but they're still there. And that's what's going to drive their motivation to move forward. Someone just needs to give them permission to go for them. All right. A lot of people will put their dreams on hold because other things happen. Many of our students, they are supporting a family, which some of them start supporting that family in high school. So they take whatever job they can get. And so they get stuck in a rut of paycheck in, paycheck out. And some of them are working 2 and 3 jobs just to keep their family afloat. There's no time. There's no time. So you have to find what they need to move forward and adjust it to what time they're willing to spend on their future. Once you find that happy medium, then you can set a plan in motion to help them move forward. So when you're doing the intake, thing, I have used the puzzle game to where I get a blank puzzle, and you can find them at most craft shops, and separated it to 3 piles. And in one pile, you have them list things in their past. On another third, you list what they're dealing with now, their present. And another one is their hopes and dreams, what they want for the future, right? And then you put the puzzle together and you show them how they do not have to forget where they came from, what they dealt with. That is their experience, that is their story. And you never want to deny that presence of where they came from. The present is what you're going to deal with and what you're going to help them change, so you can move on to that last part, the future. But all of those pieces fit together and it becomes the entire student. What you see is never all that is there. If you guys take a closer look at this picture, you'll see, some of you will see a man's face in the background. Some of you will see the woman in a coat by the tree. So never trust your first glimpse at the picture. Humanizing the student. This is extremely important. It goes along with the puzzle. There's an article by Shaista Kinchi titled Humanizing to Address the Grand Challenge of Rising Inequalities. Right? And she wrote it dealing with the post-COVID challenge of coming out of the depression that we suffered in 2020. She says, to treat another with equal dignity and respect, one must also actively seek to understand that individual's unique reality, not merely act in accordance with their morality. What she's trying to say is exactly what I was saying. You don't trust what you see at first glimpse. Take the time to find out about the human that's inside the skin. Community of leaders. When we talk about the community, those are actual definitions. A feeling of fellowship that develops from shared attitudes, interests, or goals. That's what makes a community. Definition of a leader is a person who directs, teaches, or influences others to lead. Leadership is extremely important, and given the students in your classroom, the participants in your program, starting them off from day one, addressing them as the future leaders in their field, it gives them a sense of ownership. It gives them another reason to try harder. If you know that ultimately you're going to be responsible for those who come behind you, then it means more. There's a sense of ownership to the knowledge that they're gaining. And one of the things I always stress on them is don't rent your knowledge, own it. Once you learn something, you own it. And once you own it, is your responsibility to share it. So that's a true leader, is learning it and passing it along so others can come up behind you and become leaders also. So the external partners come in handy in this: career centers, family services. They support the endeavors. Talking about the community of leaders, those are going to be your partnerships in this journey of building a program that serves the industry and our clients, right? So they see it firsthand, the needs of the economic condition of the community and the needs of the community. We need to look at ourselves as change agents. And these are just some clips just recently. If anybody has seen any news reports, and this is not new, this has been going on for years, the shift from degreed programs needing that 2-year, 4-year degree, to needing skills and actual usable certifications. So the shift has been slowly changing. I mean, there's still, trust me, I don't want to go to a dentist that doesn't have a DDS, and I don't want to go to a doctor that doesn't have an MD. Yeah, I probably would question a lawyer that hasn't passed the bar. Yeah, so there's still a place for those advanced degrees, but if you're talking about hands-on, especially in the manufacturing field, then certification, actual knowledge of the environment, specialized, concentrated knowledge, that is more valuable than a degree, than a bachelor's or a master's, because there's more knowledge in their hands is more important than what's in their head. Okay. We go to collaboration, cooperation, and contribution. And in this part, I just want to take a few minutes and break it down into each category: internal and external partners, right? Under collaboration, internal partners are going to be your program directors, your program coordinators, your administrative staff. And the reason I bring in the administrative staff is because they control the budget. So you have to have someone that is aware of budgetary restraints or grant writing, purse string holder, whatever you call them. They have to be on your team. They have to be one of your collaborating partners in this. External, you're going to talk to the industry HR. You're going to ask them, what are you looking for in a qualified applicant? And don't go by the job description that they put out, right? Because you want to know what's on your assessment. What do I need to make sure that my participants know? What are you expecting them to be aware of? All right. Support services. And you're going to go to the support services because they're going to help you find transportation for those participants that don't have rides. They're going to help you find technology for those students that don't have internet at home or don't have a laptop that they can use. Right? College and university advisors, get them on board also, because some of those participants in your program, as they go through your curriculum, are going to discover their true pathway, what they really get up for in the morning, what's going to motivate them to move forward. And it may not be, you may not be the end of the road for them as far as knowledge acquisition. They may decide to go on and finish with a 2-year degree or move on to a 4-year degree, or master's or whatever. They may decide to get their education credentials and start giving back as an instructor. So that's a good partner to have. Right? As far as the local colleges around you, you can work with them and set up pre-apprenticeships to where you lay the groundwork. You get the basics out of the way, those soft skills, those things that make people better students and better employees, and then move them into an apprentice program that colleges may have set up or the universities have set up with partnerships in the industries. Financial aid offices, let them know that is a tool that they are able to use. State office, state system office. You're going to be establishing new classes, new programs. Your state system office has to be aware of it. They have to be an external partner. And as far as cooperation, collaboration, sorry. See, I'm talking and I'm not even looking at my notes. I must be doing pretty good. All right. So Sorry, got lost there for a second. This is where you actually start building your team to go forward with the program. Your internal partners, you're going to have guidance from the state office. This is where you're going to find out what curriculum they've already purchased, what's at your disposal to use. Instructors, they're the first in constant contact with the student. They're the driver for new class sites. Your instructors that are in the field, they know where the needs are. They hear it through the grapevine. They talk to, if they're teaching off site, then they know of other sites. They know. They just don't know what to do with the information. Data input and comptroller. Your ASAP is a wonderful tool, and you have to know how to use it. Okay. External partners, instructors, a point of contact for job opening information. Word of mouth still is very strong. One student comes in and says, hey, I saw this, or I got an alert for this job, and that needs to be a flyer that's up on the wall, and share that information. Also a point of contact for new students. Career service advisors, state system office can be of assistance with supplemental. If you find something that you want to use, run it up the flagpole. That's how the different areas they collaborate together. Right? So ponder this, right? Timely certification. It's a monumental and equally challenging task for community colleges to offer timely certifications. The gap, but like I said, the gap between the secondary education and employment at an income level sufficient to support a family, is often difficult to join, to build that bridge, to fill that gap, because time restraints. I can't come to class because I have to work, and I have to work because I have to put food on the table, but I don't have enough money to put food on the table because I need to come to class and better my chances for a better paying job. So it's a vicious circle that has to be broken. And the only way to do that is to offer a more timely certification program. It may involve doing more virtual hybrid classes, come in person one day a week, sign into class the other day, something like that. But there has to be some give and take on both sides so we can better serve the student. If they're dealing with, the last thing we want to do is set restraints on when they can study and how they can progress. The adult learner, like I said, the adult learner doesn't always have the time or the money to continue their education. So those type of stumbling blocks have to be addressed, and they have to be addressed prior to a student entering the class. They have to know what they're walking into. So then we're into a marketing plan, advertisement. How do you build this program and make it attractive, and put potential participants' mind at rest? That's where your external partners come into play, your community service partners, your human resource, DHR, your career centers. That's a good starting point, unemployment office. Those type of partners are the ones to go. You can go into partnerships with high schools and go after their parents. Can't serve the students, but we can certainly get the information to the families that way. So the court systems is another way. You go into the court systems and you let them know we have this option. So this is a brainstorming activity. Every area, every community is different and has to be handled in different ways, depending on what is available to you. So the goal for The goal for adult educators is to include service to the entire student. We want to make sure that we are doing that. Industry standards typically are soft skills, 8th grade math, 10th grade reading, safety certification, basic knowledge of the environment, digital technology, and as one HR person told me, heart, humility, and hustle. He calls them the 3 H's, right? So it doesn't take that much, but you would be amazed how applicants are lacking. I don't want to go all generational on you, but that there's a certain generation that this is soft skills is very weak. There's another generation that math and reading has either gone by the wayside or was never developed to an adequate level. Safety certification, not everyone's walking around with an OSHA 10 card in their pocket. Basic knowledge of the environment, that's where the manufacturing, the MSSC program has really paid off in our area, because it gives them a knowledge walking in the door that they understand what a whatchamacallit is and a thingamajig. I won't bore you with the real terms, but it's extremely important in their on-the-job training situation that they come in at least knowing what they're talking about. Digital technology, everything is done on the computer now. Spreadsheets are huge. Excel is a certification that is cherished. If you can walk in the door with it, they go, oh, good. You know how I can do this. So it's a great benefit. I talked about pigeonholing the curriculum. Don't fear combining programs for the desired result. Okay. So many of the curriculum that we offer throughout adult ed overlaps. It teaches the same thing. So if you can combine a soft skills course with a manufacturing like the MSSC program, then you're double dipping on certs, and you're killing 2 birds with 1 stone. Another way of putting it, right? And it benefits the student. Not only do they walk out with double the credentials, but they are also doubling their knowledge, right? And they're strengthening it, and they're reviewing it and reviewing it and reviewing it, and the grades go up. The end result is better. We get into cooperation, and I talked a little bit about this. The instructional staff, record keeping, budgetary, test proctors, extremely important. When you go into that, if you proctored exams, they have got to be a partner from the get-go, because what good is it to teach a program if you can't get them certified? So keep that in mind. Transitional counselor, that is a very strong partner. If you don't have one at your institution, you need to find somebody that is willing to partner and go out and talk to these potential employers, and bring that information back to the students. Externally, feedback from the industry, encouragement from those partners. Many times, they're more than willing, someone from HR to come and talk to your class. You would not believe how wonderful that makes them feel, that they're not studying for nothing, that it truly is someone out there that is interested in them as a potential employee. Industry subject matter experts, wealth of knowledge. If you're fortunate enough to have someone on staff, then get them involved. If you have someone in the vicinity, see if you can pull them in as a guest speaker. Just anything that you can do to connect the participants of the program to the real world is another brick in the bridge. Cooperation, your internal cooperation, you form a leadership team. Goes along with collaboration. That cooperation between different departments, different programs within adult ed. Find like-minded individuals, y'all talk it out. Brainstorm ways that you can combine curriculum and build a stronger program for your participants, for your community. Give credit where credit is due. The first person that passed through our program here, we blasted his name and picture everywhere. All the way to the state office, we bragged on him. Because the more people know that they're recognized for their effort, the more effort they put forward. Again, with the budget, you got to run it somehow. If you have a testing center, you need a point of contact, and a point of contact for degree programs, because it will happen. 60% of the last class that I sent through my program went on to get advanced degrees. External, industry letters, emails, visits, invite industry partners to speak, subject matter, provide a holistic support through community partners. They all fill out a page. They tell us what their needs are. Do we look at them? Contribution. Internal contribution is going to be from your instructional staff and the support staff. External contribution, word of mouth graduates, and community services. Now, how to sell it. Internally, you have to claim the possibility. You've got to claim it. You just have to say, we're just going to do it. We're just going to jump. We're going to do it. You got to challenge the status quo. If something's not working in your program, if your program's not growing, you got to challenge it. You got to sit back and you got to ask why. What is it in the community? What does the community need? If you've worked in a community college, it's in your name. So that's who you need to look at. You need to look at what the community needs, and you need to build the program to serve it. Externally, selling the potential. And seriously, cup of sugar, 2 cups of knowledge, know what you're talking about when you approach them. 1 gallon of belief and 3 cups of statistics. Run a pilot program with what you have in hand. Run a pilot program, 3 months, whatever you decide to do a boot camp during the summer for your seniors graduating high school. Whatever it is, whatever your community needs, whatever workforce you're aiming towards, that's what you run. At the end of that boot camp, you'll have your stats to grow your program and make it a permanent one. I love Field of Dreams. If you build it, they will come. If you build the program, it takes time. You may be sitting in an empty field for a while, but they will come. Through advertisement, through word of mouth, they will come, and your community will better for it. If nothing else, it gives them options. And with options, you have choices. With knowledge comes choices. The last part that I want to talk about just a little bit is the pilot program itself, how to build the pilot program. And you partner with subject matter experts. Okay. You find those people that know what they're talking about out of the whatever industry it was. With us, it was manufacturing. I picked so many brains, I had gray matter everywhere. But then I formed an advisory committee. I think I from both sides, from my state office that had curriculum to what the industry needed according to the subject matter experts. Okay? And with that, I built a pilot program. And I read it, and it was successful. And from that, I was able to put down the roots and start that grassroots movement of changing the way that things are done to what the industry is looking for. The student, tell your students when they're in the class from day one, don't stay silent about what you found. If this was a good deal on stereo speakers, you'd be all over Facebook. So share it. Be your own advocate. I tell them is like, you need to speak up for yourself. You know, with both your advisors, with your instructors, don't just bail. Talk to us, tell us what's wrong. Partner with us, we'll figure it out. Tell the student not to assume that things are going to be easy or things are going to be hard. So many of the participants that have gone through this program, they think it's going to be too difficult, that it's going to take too much time, that it's going to be, it's not going to be worth anything. It's not going to get them what they need. It's not, right? I tell them not to make a judgment until they've been in for at least 3 weeks. At 3 weeks, we have a follow-up. What do you think? You've got your first cert under your belt. You feeling good? Better about life? And then we carry on. And they usually get done. And then within the next 3 or 4 weeks, they're done. I have 3, my classroom is empty. All of my students have gone to work. I'm trying to figure out how to get them back to get their glass certification. They have been hired without even completing it, because that's how strong they leave this program. They don't only get book knowledge, but they gain self-efficacy. They believe that they can do it. They believe in themselves again. You find that one thing. I like city suckers too. What he's trying to explain here is you find that one thing that makes you get up in the morning, right? You approach this with the student in that initial interview. You find that one thing that motivates them. And that's all that matters. Don't try adding on 14 other things. You go after that one thing. If it's a higher paying job, you map out a straightforward pathway. Okay. If it's advancing in the job that they're in, you tack on what's it going to take? What do you need? Do you need an OSHA 10 certification? Do you need some quality information? Whatever it needs. Do you need a leadership course? Whatever it is, that's what you're going to build their program of study around. Yeah. So if it's, I just want in our area, we give one free class if they finish a soft skills course. So if it's to get that jumping off cart to finish up an associate's, no problem. We'll get it done. They need digital literacy. That's their path. So you find that one thing. So brainstorming, and I see we have you start out with, believe me, there's more than one person around you that knows there's a problem. Okay. You find those like-minded individuals, you form a cohort, you form a problem-solving team. It's no different than getting a group of people together to, how do you think they came up with the apple? You know, is 2 guys that had an idea and they put their mind to it and their hands to it and their brain to it, and they came up with a solution, right? Who's going to collaborate? It's the people that see the problem. That's who you go to. No one likes to tackle a problem by themselves. It's a better chance of finding a solution and moving forward with the solution if it's a group. Okay, so we have a few minutes. If you guys want to put questions, I have a couple of questions here. Oh, Linda, thanks for the question. The 3 H's is heart, hustle, and humility. And the pilot program, yes, no problem. The pilot program that I developed is called STEPS, is Students Taking Effective Pathways to Success. And if you want to put your email into the chat box, if you don't mind, I will copy it down and send it to you, okay? All right, let's see. Does anyone else have any questions they want to put in the question and answer box? Okay, so the last thing that I want to add to this is the apprenticeship component to this. Right? There is a wonderful movement going across our country, and that's apprenticeship programs. Make sure that those are included. I mentioned it back when I was talking about partner with the local universities. Yeah, so make sure that pre-apprenticeships, which is a gateway to those, is included in your programs. Set them up for success, right? The last thing that I want to add is a heads up to a place that you can access. It's academia.edu. If you need some academic support for anything, this is a wealth of information. Academia.edu. It is a clearinghouse and a storehouse for peer-reviewed and editorial articles on everything academic. And it goes from grade school all the way up to college level information. And it gives you, it won't make you feel like you're by yourself. You will go, yes, I'm not crazy. Someone else thinks that too. So it's great. So no, it's actually Academia, ACADEMIA, ACADEMIA.edu. And you just have to, it doesn't cost anything. You just have to join. You have to join with Google or Facebook. So let's see, I'm going to write this down real quick. So Google, before we dismiss, at mccc.edu. All right. All right, so I got that, and oh wow. All right, so this is, you guys all want the STEPS pilot program. Okie dokie. I will, let's see. James, is there a way to get all of these emails out of this chat box when I'm done?
Yeah, I think we can. Yep.
Excellent. Okay, guys, everyone that asked for the steps, I will send it on to you via email, okay? And just so you have mine, just in case that doesn't work, you can reach me at phyllis.atwood@calhoun.edu. I will definitely share the information and the stats. I have them too. All right. Thank you all for joining me today.
Phyllis, thank you for a great presentation. That was excellent content. And I want to thank our sponsor, Jobspeaker, again. And just again, I just want to reiterate our gratefulness for their partnership and for their sponsorship of this webinar. Again, we wouldn't be able to offer it to our members without it. Did you want to say another quick word?
No,
I know,
I-
just say thank you, Phyllis, for a great presentation, and I appreciate the opportunity to sponsor such a great presentation, and let us know how we can help implement with the pilot programs or anything else that you need in your communities to connect your students to meaningful careers. Thank you.
Great, thank you so much. And just a reminder to everybody, the replay of this webinar will be posted to coave.org along with the presentation. And I will be sending all of your email addresses over to Phyllis so she can get you that content as well. And with that, thank you everybody for joining us today. I hope everybody has a great rest of the day and a great weekend. Thank you.